Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
Lovely to see you. Welcome back. I am always excited when we have the chance to talk about certain houses and certain fragrances. And this is no exception, is it, Dan?
I mean, this is a house which it's still kind of new to us. It feels like we've delved quite deeply into their releases, even though they've only been around for a couple of years. This is Bortnikoff, the Cologne series, the 3 new releases. We are still.
Da, da, da.
I know we're washed in the loft, but we're still not in the loft. So we're still under lockdown. So we're at home on recording.
Do you have a loft? In your house?
I don't really have a loft. No, I've got like 3 floors, but I don't really have a loft.
Because that would be quite cool if you had like a little attic space. You could go up there and.
Yeah.
But here they are, Dan. You're very kindly.
Yeah.
Acting as postman in chief as well and sending me all of these things.
Well, Bortnikoff kindly sent us this sample pack. They're quite small samples, especially how much I've got left. So I decanted these. So I've sent them to Joe.
Amazing.
So that we can have the experience of both smelling them and both testing them, even though we're recording this via Zoom. So I've had these for a bit longer. So I've smelt them a bit. Joe, I don't think you've sniffed your nozzle a bit, but.
Yeah, and I can't sort of smell anything. So the first time I smell these really will be now on skin.
What should we try with? Shall we try Vesna Cologne? So it's kind of
Vesna.
worth. Let's a little bit more of an introduction. If we mention my introduction to the house was I bought this. This is Amber Cologne. I bought this. I think it
Great
was
stuff.
A couple of years ago now. It was we had talked about Rouge Doré and we'd smelt a Rouge Doré a bit, and everyone was saying, well, if you've tried a Rouge Doré, you must try Bortnikoff. You know, Dmitry Bortnikoff and Russian Adam were partners with Philud, great fragrances. And then this came out, and this, as opposed to a lot of the Bortnikoff fragrances are X-ray strength and are $350. This was an eau de parfum for $180. Tried it. Blown away.
It's
I mean,
great stuff, isn't it?
I'll put a link from our video below, but we absolutely loved it. So we tried, a few things since we've done a video on his the last collection, which included Triad, Oud, Vetiver Nocturne, and Oud Sin. What's it called?
Sinjara.
Yeah. They were
3 different types of oud, which was.
Yeah, or Triad got the 3
incredible.
different types of oud.
Triad,
anyway,
yes, that's right.
These are slightly different. So these are cheaper. These are $220 each, and they are eau de parfum. They're 15 to 25% concentration. So I know they're called a cologne collection, but don't expect some like slap on 5%.
4711.
Yeah. What should we try with? Should we try with Vesna?
Vesna, let's go for Vesna.
This is one I was really interested to try. So Vesna is a character from. Do you want to spray? And I'm
going to spritz on my hand there.
I've worn this a few times. She's a character from Slavic mythology, I think, associated with springtime. I liked the sound of this because I saw the note of tomato leaf. While Joe smells, I'm going to carry on waffling a little bit. But tomato leaf is one of those notes which I have such a keen sense memory of as a child. Like my grandma used to always have a greenhouse, and they always seemed to be full of tomato plants, growing them in the greenhouse. And I just remember going in there as a kid and watering them, and then planting them outside, and that tomato viney leaf smell. Anyway, that's enough chat. Sorry.
It's really good. I have the exact same memory from my grandmother. She grew tomatoes in her back garden down in Cornwall.
All the tomato leaf
good
chat.
stuff.
The tomato
really
leaf
good stuff.
Isn't that prominent in this, I don't think.
It's the texture of it though. It's the feeling of that very vine ripened bracing aspect.
It's just, if you've tried Bortnikoff before, like his citrus. Speaking of someone who doesn't like citrus, his citruses are to die for. And like, we've almost going to have a slight caveat with these reviews because, the quality is kind of through the roof. And so that's a given. It's
so realistic as well. It's such edible citrus. It's no toilet cleaner inside.
No, and I think straight away for me, it's tempered by the tea, so that there's a kind of tea aspect. I've got quite into Earl Grey tea with lemon recently. I used to have
Yeah,
Earl Grey with
great
milk,
stuff.
and now I've gone to Earl Grey with a slice of lemon, and this has just got that from the
It's very good
first.
for you.
It's a juicy first spray, but I feel like there's lemon and pineapple, and it's tempered by a slight smokiness. I don't know if you call it smoky
Yeah,
tea, but
there's a wisp of smoke that you get in a tea. I think maybe in a Darjeeling or something like that. A little bit of
mm,
that, for sure.
or lapsang, or it's not quite
That's what I
lapsang.
mean. That's
It's
what I
not.
mean, though.
It's not spice. It's not as smoky as lapsang. But the tomato leaf, whilst I wouldn't spray this and say, oh, tomato leaf. Um, I think you're right. It's a kind of texture thing. It's adding a
You
kind
can
of
feel it.
it's a kind of bitterness as opposed to citrus become a bit juicy fruity. Whereas this is
Yeah.
steering it in a more of a green, slightly. I won't go as far as vegetal, but bitter.
It's just it's very much the back garden citrus that you'd expect. The
Mhm.
very green, very realistic. It's not sort of doctored and catered for to be pleasing in any way. Although it is very pleasing.
Savory. It's savory more than sweet.
Yeah.
It's not like a lime pie or a lime cordial or a lime juice. It's
No. Although I do like a lime pie.
mm.
I think
and
that's really good. Do you know,
and
I have to just briefly sort of throw this out there. I've been on some Facebook fragrance groups that I joined recently, and they're all about the designers and the Aventus. And someone was posting today, oh, so what great summer fragrance should I have? And he listed Sauvage, Aventus, and something else. And I was thinking, no, there's so
mm,
many things. There are so many things. This has to be top of the list straight away for great things to try.
it
It's
is.
beautiful.
I don't know how much of the kind of journey you're going to get just now, but I Magnolia is a note that I couldn't always identify until we spent time with Sarah McCartney developing the fragrance that she's making for us, and she gave us some Magnolia, which she was making this green garden corn. She sprayed us let us smell some Magnolia, and the Magnolia in this Magnolia is very very bitter as florals go. It's just about the most bitter floral, and I
Yeah.
think it just kind of it segues. Um,
I'm getting that now.
and it's quite a clever fragrance. It's the other thing with a lot of Bortnikoff fragrances. This one is a very good example of. He really likes this sweet, ripe, white floral, champaca, jasmine,
Yeah.
which I know some people find a bit white, they don't like it very much. And it's interesting that this is a
I
fragrance.
think it's very good.
It's
It's
not
very
gone.
elegant.
It's very, very elegant. Later on, this whole bitterness, you get kind of cypriol, which comes in later, which I always think smells a little bit like boot polish. that,
Oh, okay.
that comes in later, and I started to get that with this. It's really
I can't reference it off the top of my head. I can't really reference what Cypriol smells of.
it's
I've probably smelt it in things and not picked it up.
it's in that. You remember we had that Gravity Plus by World Incense,
Oh yeah.
which was a similar kind of thing, which opened as like an aromatic fougere, and then it had loads of cypriol, and in that instance, it was to smell like boot polish.
Yeah, I do
I
remember
sometimes
that. I
I
think that's really nice.
I really really like it. I'm just going to say this is not my favorite Bortnikoff fragrance. I think it's really beautiful. I can see people really enjoying it. It's quite. I would say it leans masculine. It's definitely a kind of. I would say it's a masculine leaning fragrance. It's just something about it didn't set my heart on fire. I mean, I think it's really good. Of course, you're getting Bortnikoff quality. It's lovely. It's great. I I won't be spending my money on this. I think
Yeah,
it's a really really good fragrance, but there's just something. I mean, we've said so far is all great. It's a great fragrance. It doesn't give me that extra step which I expect with Bortnikoff. I don't know because it doesn't. Not everything has to have ambergris and oud and musk, but I think maybe with
but
the
it
sound
should, if possible.
and maybe all of them. I don't know. There's just something I can't put my finger on it, but it just doesn't take me over the next step. I think it's
Yeah.
really good. It's really good. It's a great fragrance, but it's Bortnikoff.
Yeah, but for those people that like it slightly more approachable, a little. I mean, it's not mainstream by any stretch, but it could.
If this
You know,
was in
it could be a really.
sorry,
Go on.
go on.
I was going to say if it's more approachable, but with that same quality of ingredients, I think it's a good thing. I'm with you. I don't think I'd spend my money on this compared to some of the other Bortnikoffs I've smelled.
But
I really like it. It's very well made. It's very beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, if it was in a Frederick Malle bottle or a Roger Dove bottle, we'd be saying it was amazing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not the best thing ever.
No.
With that in mind, let's move on to the next one. Moss.
What do you recommend?
Moss Cologne.
Moss Cologne. Now I'm very excited by this because the name Moss instantly gets me going.
Yeah. So these are all $220 for 50 ml. I'm just going to let Joe start.
Yes.
I mean, the thing with Bortnikoff fragrance is the first spray is just.
They're always arresting, aren't they?
But the first spray of this, I mean, wow.
That I am buying.
I'm just going to tell you, this I have bought.
You have?
I've placed an order for this, yeah.
God,
wow.
that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's one of the best openings I think I've smelt on any perfume ever.
I will say that it is. The opening is very, very, very short-lived. I found on my skin, it's absolutely incredible. But I've worn it a few times, and the opening doesn't last long. You get hints of it, but it does transition to a mid soon.
That's the kind of stuff that Creed wish they were doing.
Oh yeah, but
I mean, I don't mean to be mean to Creed, but that's the kind of thing they wish they were doing.
It's magic, but it doesn't stop there. Like this,
wow.
And this is why.
How much is that?
$220.
Bargain.
And it's free postage at the moment as well. Right. So yeah.
Oh, so what do you get here, Dan? What
just get this swimming melange of the best kind of citrus ever. There's kind of grapefruit and bergamot, but already there's a slight bittery oak mossy, and you're already, on one hand it's quite breathtaking, but there's something very, I think, quite familiar about this, and I think it actually gets more familiar as you go. I don't know if you're already getting, but very, very soon you get two things, which is oak moss, which just gets more and more and more. And the other thing is this a kind of powdery. I'm really, I thought it was going to be really quite manly, this, but I'm really reminded of a classic Chypre. That
thing definitely for me is very classical in feel. Incredibly. It smells like one of the most beautiful things you might find. I'd say, I mean, even sort of 70s, 80s feminines a little bit. Yeah. Some of the beautiful things that were coming out then.
It's slightly misleading, is it? Moss Cologne, you think it's going to be like Dracar Noir. It's not.
I'm getting some sort of very gentle peachy floral action going on.
It gets really, quite floral in the mid.
A little bit Guerlain-esque.
Yeah, very. It's that kind of
ballpark. Oh God, that's good.
Yeah.
So now I'm smelling Vesna, and I'm thinking, okay.
Exactly. You get there is a hint of champaca and jasmine, but not as much as some of his other fragrances. I actually found Lily of the Valley quite. I got a slightly indolic twang in the middle of this.
Do you know, now that you say Lily, I'm getting a slightly nice white floral, like a slight linden blossom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the soft lawn by Imaginary Authors and Beaver from Zoologist?
Mm.
I'm getting little references to that. Sorry, there's a fly here because it likes my cologne so much.
It's got a good taste.
and like a slightly creamy, milky aspect as well.
But you're getting that oak moss is starting to come in, and
It's starting to, yeah, it's softening it all up and making it, well, to use a terrible cliche, but it's making it really mossy. It is.
but
It does feel like it's mossy green.
but it's interesting that a lot of his fragrances, a lot of it, I mean, different with the oud ones, but lots of his brighter fragrances, like Amber Cologne or Musk Cologne or Musk Khabib, they've gone quite towards that chewy, sweet, floral. Whereas I think so far these two have definitely gone in a more bitter direction.
Mm. I think it's just wonderfully savoury.
Hmm.
But somehow it gives me the emotion, not the smell, but the emotion of something that's sweet, but without smelling sweet. It just gives me the feeling of
Well, it's
something
it's
quite lifted and bright.
It does. It definitely gets more oak mossy, I found, on me. But
And a little gentle tobacco as well.
But you're a long way from that open eye, aren't you? Do you see what I mean about the quick transition?
But it hasn't diminished in any way. It hasn't. The quality hasn't diminished. The excitement I'm feeling towards it hasn't diminished at all.
It's great. I mean, I found this. It kind of goes from the top notes to mid, and then the mid lasts really quite a long time, which is this slightly indolic floral oak mossy mid. And then actually, you don't. Almost, you think you're done with that, and you'd be happy with that. But at the end of it, you then get to slightly ambery dry down. It's a slightly ambery, slightly woodiness, which combines with the oak moss and becomes really, really lovely.
That's so good.
I mean, I've got to say this. I will say this does. I love it. I mean, I've just spent my money on it, but I would say two things. I don't think this is groundbreaking, and I don't think this is necessarily modern. I think this feels really classic. But going against the thing I just said, if you are somebody like us who loves classic fragrances and is maybe disappointed that the new formulations aren't what they used to be, and you want those classic designer fragrances but done with better ingredients.
Yeah.
Bingo.
It's very respectful to the past, isn't it? This thing, and it's like a wonderful tribute to some of the greats that have come before, without smelling like them. It makes me feel so nostalgic for my childhood, and I can't even put my finger on what it is I'm smelling that is linking me back. It's just a smell that was in the air when I was a child at various times and in various places.
But there is a definitely powdery feeling. That kind of perfume powder. What do you call perfume powder? I don't know what you call it. Makeup powder? What do you call it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Little poudre de riz or whatever it's called.
But you get a bit of that. I don't
not
think
as powdery as Amouage Gold or something like that, but still.
No, but still. I mean, if I were to say that the first
enough.
one was slightly Vesna was slightly masculine leaning, I think this is slightly feminine leaning. I mean, put your money where your mouth is.
I'm buying that. Definitely.
Right.
That hits all my boxes.
Coup de Foudre.
This next one, yeah.
Right, just wait. So this is interesting. So this is
inner arm.
It's a re-release sort of. So this was with the first collection in 2018. He released this as the X-Tray for $350. This is now released as in the Cologne series, even though it's the Eau de Parfum, $220. I think Coup de Foudre means like thunderstruck, like a bolt of lightning, and it normally means like you're struck by lightning and you fall in love, that kind of thing. This is very different. This is the light. You can kind of see why the term cologne applied to the others, whereas this is such a thick, like I get this like orange. This is
quite a bit of champaca.
Yeah, this is thick. I've got to say, my overall feeling with this is I'm surprised he's done it in this lower concentration, because it's kind of rich, fruity, floral, oudy stuff, which lends itself to a big, thick X-Tray. And
it's a definite big Oriental in its intentions.
And I haven't smelled the original. I can't compare it to this, so it's not a comparison video. But it just makes me think, this would be well suited to a stronger concentration. It's a really interesting one. It's quite, I have to say, it's a little bit weird, this one. I get quite a lot of orange. And
quite oily, bitter orange, isn't it?
yeah, kind of orange. And I get this, it's weirdly, almost slightly, I don't know if gourmand is the right word, but I got a kind of, it's a gourmand which kind of teeters between sweet and savoury. Because I also got this, it's a note which I wouldn't have picked up, but when I read it, I thought, oh, maybe that's it, which is turmeric. Which is giving that kind of savoury, slightly kind of curried vibe. You get this.
I'm still getting quite a lot of jasmine and champaca.
Loads of chewy. I think the orange kind of combines with that chewy, sweet, floral, thick.
It's sweet. It's sort of sweetening up and becoming nicer as it goes. It's very intriguing, I have to say. I don't know initially if the first reaction was as nice as the others in terms of, wow. But actually, I find it the most intriguing of all of them in terms of.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one.
Forcing my nose to my arm.
What I found, I think when I just wore it, because to me it kind of smells like something. It feels like a Christmas, cuddly, well, not necessarily Christmas, but like winter cold, snuggle up inside. Especially later, I got some oud with all these kind of resiny white florals. It felt like a big, cozy, huggy Oriental. And I didn't really understand why it was in this cologne collection.
No, I don't get that myself, I have to say.
I mean, because, if you think like the Vesna, you can completely get that kind of bright citrus with a bit of smoky tea for character. Absolutely.
That's nice now.
The Moss Cologne, again, I can absolutely get that. Why it kind of says cologne, even though it's got more of a kind of sheepery feel.
Moss is going slightly almondy now on me.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's good. It's good stuff. I think it is a cologne in style, just in terms of the interplay between the citruses and the florals. It feels like it's still quite a heady fragrance compared to some things it could be.
There's something about it as well, which I don't know. I have to say, I didn't love Coup de Foudre, and I found something slightly almost medicinal about it. It's not so overtly, because I quite like medicinal twang sometimes, but I don't know.
I don't find the medicinal so much, but I know what you mean. It just doesn't wrap itself around me in the same way as the other two did.
Yeah.
I find it more of an enigma than something I would necessarily love. But again, the quality is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, it is.
The seamlessness these notes are transforming. I'm starting to get like bitter orange oil on hot paving slab.
I definitely get orange, from the outset with this. Orange, juicy white florals, some real like syrupy, balsamic-y kind of almost like honeyed kind of quality. And then later on, I got a bit of oud to kind of go with that.
I'm starting to get a little bit of rose coming through here. Just a sort of faint little wisp of rose in the middle. But it's really interesting.
I think it's an interesting decision to have put it in this category. So this collection also includes Amber Cologne and Musk Cologne. So Amber Cologne is 180. Musk Cologne is a bit more. I think it's 270. We haven't actually reviewed that one, but I found Musk Colognes to be kind of between Amber Cologne and Musk Khabib.
Yeah, I need to try that again.
Being the kind of the better option, but it's fun.
I like it. I like all three of them. I think the one I love the most is Musk Cologne, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day of the week.
I think it's so beautiful.
I should say about if you've tried them before, these are not big beast. I've worn them a bit. They're not big beast fragrances. All of them. I got good longevity. I put both of these Vesna and Musk Cologne on this morning at about 8 o'clock, and I can still smell them now. What's the time? It's 20 to 10. They're very, very, very light now, but they do last. I mean, you definitely detect them well for 10 hours, but they are not big sillage monsters. So if you're looking for a big sillage monster, don't spend your money.
Yeah.
If you're looking for beautiful fragrances, do spend your money.
It's a shame in a way, isn't it? Because especially this Moss Cologne, it's sort of so beautiful. I would love other people to be able to smell it on me quite readily.
Oh, I think
it's the kind of thing I really would want to share with people because it's so good.
I get such a kind of, it's interesting, you know, it's impossible not to compare Bortnikoff with the likes of Riche Doré. If you look at the recent collection of Riche Doré, something like War and Peace, which was, you know, a bit bonkers, really, or even, I mean, Antiquity, which is an obvious nod to the past, but was still a bit like, wow, like wham bang, in your face. That is the kind of massive performance. Whereas these are a real nod to the past, but they're not shouty fragrances at all.
No, just beautifully elegant. Do you know what I'm starting to get now with the Moss Cologne? I'm starting to get a real relationship to Hasu no Hana.
Yeah.
The delicacy and beauty of that, and the slight almond nutty.
Another like, I mean, it's really, it's just a real
stuff.
Beauty
and great value actually.
I really love it. And as I said, it does when you get to about 6 hours or so, and the kind of some of the florals start to disappear, and the moss then just kind of blends into some kind of warm ambery, slightly woodiness. You know, as you would expect from a kind of a sheepery kind of dry down.
Beautiful.
A kind of sexy, slightly kind of labdanum-y, like balsamic dry down. It's really lovely. It's a win for me.
I'm so glad you found these, mate. Yeah, me too. I mean, especially the moss. I think that's definitely on its way to my door. I hope they've not sold out.
Vesna is nice. Vesna is nice. It just didn't tip me like it was. I think Vesna. You know, if I had to rank them, I would definitely say Moss Cologne, Vesna, Coup de Foudre.
Yeah.
I would love to smell the original of Coup de Foudre. I do find it still a bit strange, and I felt maybe the X-ray I would find overwhelmingly strange. But I think I might enjoy that kind of thickness that you might get with an X-ray as opposed to an odor.
It needs to not be so suggestive. I think it's obviously leaning towards going in a certain direction. It just needs to go there.
If
that makes any sense.
Like the other thing as well, especially the first two, which seem so well thought out and so cohesive and so well constructed. I feel like Coup de Foudre was a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
It feels, I don't know, like slightly like it's some really, really good ingredients put together which don't necessarily quite work.
Yeah, there's a sort of rawness to it, but I kind of like it as well. There's a sort of a slight, I don't mean green as in the color green, but I mean just young and youthful. It smells like a sort of a slightly hastily put together thing. And I don't mean hastily like in a rush. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I mean it's a bit more like wow, like a puppy that's just been let out. It's got that sort of slightly manic quality to it. But I think they're all really good.
If you've got the original, if you tried the original Coup de Foudre, let us know, and especially if you've got both versions, let us know. But
great stuff, though.
Till next time.
Bye.
Happy sniffing.